Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us again as we continue our series of conversations on navigating different aspects of the creative economy. Welcome to today's panel discussion at the Ceative Creative Economy Power Arts Convention, where we continue to explore the vibrant intersection of creativity and commerce in our region. Joining us today is the distinguished photographer Jeffrey Charles, whose work has captured the essence of Caribbean life through a unique and compelling lens. With a career spanning almost a decade, Jeffrey has not only documented the beauty and diversity of the Caribbean, but he has also played a crucial role, in my opinion, in redefining the region's visual narrative on the global stage. Jeffrey's photography is more than just an art form, it's a cultural dialogue. Today, we will dive deep into his creative process, his experiences navigating the ever-evolving world of photography, and his thoughts on how artists can thrive in the creative economy. So let's welcome Jeffrey Charles to the discussion and explore his journey as a visionary in the world of photography. So, Mr. Charles.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us and welcome to Ceative.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure to have you here as well. Could you start by telling me a little bit about your journey? How did you get your start in photography?
Well, it's a bit of a funny story. When my daughter was born, my daughter's 7, I was inquiring about photography for kids, and I thought the prices were really ridiculous. And I thought, you know what, maybe this is something I could do for myself. And then I started doing a little research into photography and whatever. I'm like, listen, I could do a photo shoot with my daughter every week, and it's going to be cheaper. And I invested a ridiculous amount of money in buying expensive equipment initially because I thought that in itself would make me amazing. But that was definitely not it. So after as I progressed with learning camera settings and different things and whatever, I'm like, why do I have all this expensive equipment? But everybody else's work is looking better than mine. And then I just continued to research and shoot, and then I continued to buy more equipment. And when I got to maybe about 25,000 US in equipment, without even making a dollar, I I decided to myself, you know what, maybe this is something I could do just to make a little extra money to buy equipment. That's it. So I wouldn't have to use from my own money. And then it was a total spiral. I don't know if to say downhill or upward.
Uphill for sure.
And I mean, that's kind of basically the short story. But I did everything from shooting kids, maternity shoots, birthday shoots, weddings, all of which I still do enjoy. And I used to be a model back in the day, 20 years ago.
I remember.
So I knew a lot of the designers and a lot of people in the carnival industry, and I was just asked to shoot a little 1 or 2 costumes here and there. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll just do it for the fun of it. And apparently, me doing it for the fun of it was actually better than the big name photographers at the point who were dominating the industry at the point. And then I just started getting little jobs. A band from Barbados contacted me, and I just continued to push myself and push my skill set and invest in myself, invest in my knowledge, and I just continued to grow, and I built friendships, I built relationships over time, and that's just it. Now I'm here.
Interesting story for sure. At what point, though, did you start to take yourself seriously as a photographer? What was the catalyst that led you to say, oh, this is no longer just for fun?
To be honest, about 2 months ago. Seriously. Yeah, after literally about 2 months ago, I was just like, you know what, 2 or 3 months ago, just maybe I should start paying a little more attention and do this as a business. And I mean, while I'm always working and they're always stressing me out and I'm always grasping for life, it was never something that I really saw as something to be a big business venture. For me, it was always something I was passionate about, something that always kept me challenging myself. And because anybody who knows me knows I'm a troublemaker, I have to keep myself occupied all the time. So this was something that just kept me occupied to keep me out of the trouble that I like so much.
It's amazing to hear you say that you only really started taking seriously as a business like 2 months ago, because you're literally everywhere.
Yeah, I'm literally everywhere, but I mean, it just got there, you know. It just got there. I mean, you see, the thing is, navigating this, especially in this carnival industry, it's a little bit different than most other places and most other spaces. And I was always told from the get-go, because of my personality, that I was not going to make it in this industry. And I refused to change the fundamental part of who I am, my core, to pretend to be anybody else, for me to get any forward, or for me to be taken seriously in any space or any place. And that is just not me, just not my personality. And I personally believe once you're true to yourself and you're honest and you're open, like the people that need to find you, God would present them to you. So, I mean, that was it. I just stayed true to myself, and now I'm here. And even though I am sorry to say this might be a little bit of a controversial statement, even though I'm overlooked in the Trinidad carnival industry, again, because of my personality, because I am not one of the people who would bend the knee. I stand strong to what I believe in. I stand strong to my belief in my skill set and my belief in myself. And I'm able to give the people that truly appreciate my skill set outside of Trinidad and Tobago the opportunity to present their band on a world scale that could compete with Trinidad and Tobago.
Just to stick with what you're saying just a little bit, I mean, from the outside looking in, as a fellow Trinidadian, like, to me, it's sad to hear that you're overlooked, I guess, because of your personality. What do you think is needed for us to start to judge people based on their talent?
That's just not how it goes, and that's not how it goes in a lot of business spaces. Like, I mean, anybody who knows business understands that it is who I know first, and a lot of the times it's who I like. I mean, especially in the Caribbean, I'm sorry to say. A lot of the time it's who I know and who I like, and not their skill set.
Who's best?
Right?
Sure.
I mean, I don't mean to sound arrogant. This is just me and my confidence. I know I am the best. I know that. I am willing.
What makes you the best?
My drive, my ability to adapt. Obviously, my skill set, because I invest a lot of time and a lot of energy into developing my skill set, because I'm a very proud person. So I want to be able to stand up in any place and any space at any point in time and say, I am the best, and be confident that I am the best, and be confident that anybody that chooses to challenge me in that place or that space, that they would come second.
I like that. I like that a lot. Continuing along the lines of photography, right? What, outside of sometimes being judged based on your personality instead of the work that you do, do you think that that is enough to discourage? Obviously not you, because you're that guy and you have that level of confidence. But do you think it could be a deterrent for younger people who are coming up in the industry? And how do you suggest they work around that?
To be honest, you just have to be built and bred differently to be able to survive in this industry, because I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of talented creatives in the Caribbean who tried coming into the industry, who came very optimistic, very motivated, very driven, and they ultimately get pushed out. If it wasn't for me being this rebellious, this stubborn, and this strong-willed, I would not have been here. Now, I would tell anybody who trying to come into the carnival space, come, enjoy it while it lasts, and hopefully find a different niche. Make your money, grow your skill set, and push and keep it pushing. And that's just how it goes. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. And as I said before, it's not ever about the skill set. It's always about the politics.
When you say enjoy it while it lasts, what do you mean exactly?
I mean, after you get to the top, you see, for me, I have a lot of skill sets that I have not even displayed yet. I haven't even showcased, that I've been holding on to for the past year or two. Because while I came into the space saying, you know what, I could make a huge difference in this carnival industry and maybe put the visuals of the carnival industry up to the visuals of the international world stage. I feel as though if you're not willing to bend the knee to certain people, they're going to do everything in their power to push you out. And what they don't realize in this industry is we are all human. And you make mistakes, I make mistakes, and we all make mistakes. But when you're on the top, everybody just grabbing at you to pull you down, even if you went out of your way so many times before to help them and pull them up. As soon as you slip and you make a mistake, they are there to pull you down.
Given your lived experiences and given your observations of the industry within which you operate, are you willing or have you taken steps, I don't know, to mentor some of those talented up-and-coming photographers that you would have mentioned earlier?
Well, I've been looking for an assistant recently, but I'll be honest with you. As I said, I have a very strong personality. And Gen Z growing up real soft. Gen Z super emotional. You can't, everything is, oh gosh, my pronouns are they, them. This, that, whatever. Like, you can't even make a joke without everybody being hurt or offended. And I have been trying to look for an assistant, and I do want to mentor a lot of younger people, and that's why I started my YouTube channel. But to be honest, for me to be hands-on with this generation coming up is extremely difficult, because I grew up in a different era where you just had to be resilient, you just had to be strong in order to survive, you just had to be, you just had to have a certain level of discipline and whatever. And this generation, they just don't have it. They just want everything to be spoon-fed to them. And within me interviewing a couple of people that I was looking at, I realized that they just want you to spoon-feed them. They don't want to actually come and go through the process, the difficult, hard process of all the mistakes and everything else that it takes for you to become great. They want you to take your greatness and pass it on to them. Now, hopefully, I started a YouTube channel for where I am going to be posting a lot of my stuff now, where anybody who feels like they want to learn could go over there and feel free to take the information and do what you want with it. But for me, working with Gen Z might lead to my own detriment, because I've seen too many times now everything is social media, and now I might say something that the older generation, like some of my clients, people come and say they have never seen somebody that is being paid that amount of money to somebody speak to them like that. And that's just how I am. It's not like, that's just my personality. And I don't want anybody, especially in this new generation, to be running on social media and painting me in a way that might take away from the brand that I've been struggling so hard to build.
Okay, given everything that you just said, right, I want you to describe yourself to me in 3 words. And then I want you to give me 3 words that you think other people might use to describe you.
Oh gosh, describe myself in 3 words. Disciplined, hardworking, resilient. Right? And 3 words that people would use to describe me. What's the limit to any words? arrogant. Um, I mean, I get hard to work with, but that's not one word. I get stubborn. I could go on and on. I could use words that, I usually hear a lot, but,
Seriously though, looking at your journey, knowing what you know now, is there any one thing you would do differently if you could?
Yes. What I would do is I would not have invested so much of time and energy into a place or a space that doesn't appreciate my skill set. I feel like I could have used my skill set in a different place and add value there and focus more on adding value to myself instead of me saying, hey, you know what, I can add value to this designer or these designers and this band and this industry. I would focus my energy on, because I have other business other than this, right? I would focus on my business and not neglect my business. And because at least I know, I would see the result and I would know that, listen, there's a dog world out there in the business world. I would just take a lot less time and a lot less of my heart, and put it into this industry. Even if it's me as a creative, coming into the creative space, I would not just have invested so much time into the carnival industry. I would have done other things.
Okay, on the issue of carnival industry, I want you to give me a little bit more about your experience navigating that space. Some of the highs, some of the lows. What are some of the biggest challenges you would have encountered? We could start there.
One of the biggest challenges, some of the biggest challenges I encounter is people expect you to create magic and don't expect to give you the tools to create the magic. For example, you would usually, let's just say, have a year, 2 years to build a 10-story house. You would have tractors, you would have cranes, you would have everything that you need to get this house done, right? But then the client would come to you and they would say, you know what? Here's a shovel, and here's a fork, and here's 3 men, and I expect you to build a 15-story house in 6 months. And when you say, listen, I'm not sure I could do that, I'm not sure if that's even possible, but I'll give you the best that I could give with the tools that I'm given. And you only get to 3 stories within the 6 months. They will come and they would fight you and they would drag you. That is one of the most difficult things. I'm never given the amount of time I need to really create what I need to create, because everybody's always on a timeline, and I respect that and I understand that. But what I do, because it's different from what everybody else does, it is a lot more time consuming, from the 3D rendering aspect to even the rendering to the compositing. To those things take a lot of time. And to be honest, if I could outsource it at an affordable price, I would do that. But I can't, because for me to outsource somebody to do what I do, 5% of it costs more than what I am being paid for the entire project. So that's one of the things. 2, the second thing is everybody say negative things about everybody behind the back. That's another major. It's a toxic, very, very toxic industry. But thankfully, I'm good at toxic.
No, we're not doing toxicity in 2024.
Yes, it is. A lot of people like to pretend that it doesn't exist, but it does. It does exist.
But how do we alleviate some of that? How do we get rid of that?
You can't. It's just our Caribbean culture, unfortunately. It is our Caribbean culture. That's just how. Sorry to say, that's just how we are. I mean, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but I mean, it happens in most business places and business spaces, but it's hidden very well. I just think that we in the carnival industry, we just have it a little bit more than other business places.
Okay. Shifting gears just a little bit, in your opinion, how could photography, or how does photography contribute to preserving aspects of our Caribbean culture?
Well, photography is super important. You know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You know, you could look at a picture and you could get so much emotions. You could actually feel based on the expression, composition, lighting, whatever. You could actually feel what you want the viewer to feel, right? So I feel as though it is extremely important. Like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when we're dominated by AI, people would look back to the age before AI and know that, oh my God, they're looking like they were having an amazing time. I mean, I feel like it is extremely, extremely important to document it. Not from my side, because I'm more on the commercial side, but more of the road experience, the costume experience, the overall road experience and that kind of thing. Like, I feel like it's super important because for video, yes, we're always going to have video, but I always feel like a picture, that one frame could say even more than a 1 minute video.
Okay, one of the purposes of these conversations are to let people in your respective fields as creatives, get some insight into the highs and lows of what you do, and also give them some tips on how to navigate this space. Right. Seeing that you've been around the block, you've done carnival shoots
all over.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite places to do these shoots outside of Trinidad and Tobago? I am intentionally taking Trinidad out of the running.
Where have I gone to? Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I really enjoy shooting at home. I'll be honest with you, because I've had some horrible experiences shooting outside at Trinidad and Tobago, not within Carnival. Like not coming to shoot on the road while the parade is happening and that kind of thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about coming to shoot. A band says, okay, well, Jeffrey, we're gonna bring you to St. Kitts. We're gonna have a studio with all the equipment and everything you need to get the shoot done. And I'm like, okay, yes, I'm happy, I'm prepared. I'm pack my bags up and go in. And then when I get there, it's a little 6x4 room with an 8-foot high ceiling. When the backpack is 10 foot high, and they have 2 little small lights like this, and they expect me to create the work that I would create if I was home. So I've had some really traumatic experiences, but outside of Trinidad, I've had amazing experiences. Most of my clients make sure I'm happy. That's one thing. I'm just always fussy about my work.
Oh, so you're admitting that you're fussy?
I am fussy about my work and the way my work is presented, because obviously my work is aligned with my name and my brand, right? But I have had amazing experiences in Jamaica. I never come here to shoot because everybody shoots in Trinidad from here. But yeah, I've had only Jamaica I've actually went to shoot, like do an actual carnival costume shoot, and it was a good experience. Still a little frustrating, but other than Trinidad, yeah, Jamaica.
What's your dream for this photography industry in the Caribbean? Like, where would you like to see it go? What would you like to see happen, judging from where it is right now?
For the photography industry, for us creatives on a whole, in general, I think if we stop seeing each other as competition and start working together, that in itself would bring value to the entire industry. And for so long, especially with me coming up, because as I said, I've met people in this space. I've met people dominating the space when I came into this industry. And I know that a lot of people who has said a lot of things about me, other creatives, has never even met me, never even had, a conversation with me. And only after 3 or 4 years when we met, they actually say, oh, you're a nice guy. And I say, well, if you ever need anything, if you ever have a shoot to do and you need a light, you need something, it's 12 o'clock in the night, you can't get a rental shop open, feel free, call me. And I feel like if we stick together as creatives and we help each other out, it would generate and make more work for all of us, because it would always have people like me, who I would say is on the higher end of the spectrum, who who would not or can't afford to do certain jobs anymore because it's not financially beneficial to me and I have a lot of overheads. But that doesn't mean that I can't, if I get 20 calls about a maternity shoot or weddings or birthdays, that I can't pass it on to. But if you all are fighting me and I get 20 calls about, then I'm just going to say, well, I don't do that anymore. I don't have time, so I'm sorry. So I feel like we could all work together. And if somebody comes to you and you don't have the equipment or the skill set to execute the job, you could say, well, you know what? I don't have the equipment or the skill set, but let me pass this on to XYZ. And the way how humans work is, the more of it we see, is the more people would want it. So the more photographers and videographers we have creating, the more maternity shoots we do, the more birthday shoots we do, is the more people are going to want it. So the more of us it have working together instead of fighting each other is going to ultimately create more work for the rest of us.
With the rise of social media and digital content, as a creative, how do you maintain integrity in the work that you do and the work that you put out?
Well, to be honest, AI is here to replace all of us in the creative space. I mean, you all may not want to believe it, but that is ultimately what is going to happen.
How do you feel about that, though?
Me, it don't bother me. Nothing don't bother me, To be honest, nothing don't bother me. I say, all right, AI, come, let me go. I will let it take AI head on, because I have a unique look that not even AI could replicate yet. But what I can tell you is, as AI advances, if it could help me speed up my workflow and help me deliver better quality content to my clients in a shorter space of time, I would use it and incorporate it into my work instead of letting it, intimidate me. And I think that a lot of creatives now thinking, oh yeah, AI, because AI, AI is a big thing now. AI is coming to replace us. It doesn't make any sense becoming a photographer because AI is going to this and AI is going to that. But here's what AI isn't. AI isn't real. AI isn't a real person doing an actual thing, having an actual feeling, and that is it. So, now I have a lot of people asking me, saying to me, Jeffrey, this, that, whatever. I'm like, I am not worried about AI. AI not out here on the road capturing images of real people, capturing video of real people actually having fun. Even if they use AI to replace me in the studio, and everybody buys the costumes and whatever, and everybody's on the road, AI is not on the road taking the pictures of actual people having actual fun. So I have to change with the time, and that's one thing about being not only a business person, but as a creative. If you don't change with the time, you're going to be left out.
As we prepare to wrap up, what has been one of the highlights of or most rewarding moments of your career so far?
Well, every time I get paid is a highlight for me. Most rewarding. To be honest, I never really looked at it like that, because I really look at this day to day, like, an alcoholic getting over because I feel like that's the only way you could navigate this space. Like I have little achievements that I pat myself on the back for. But I think one of the things that for me, I felt was a big accomplishment for me was when I opened up this new studio that I have. I mean, it's not new anymore. It's like a year old now. But when I opened up that studio, for me, I didn't even realize that I went that big and that hard in such a short space of time, because as I said, I usually take it day by day. And while I'm progressing, because it's so small, it's compound growth. And I didn't take time to look back. It's like a bucket being filled drop by drop by drop, and you just leave the bucket there. And you come back and it's like, oh my God, the bucket full. That's kind of, for me, when I opened my new studio, even after me starting to outfit it, and I went one day, I was just by myself, organizing equipment and whatever, and I was just tired, and I just sat down, and I just looked up and I was like, wait, you're here? Like, you did all this? Like, with the help of a few friends, with the help of a few designers, and with the help of a few bands and whatever. But that was one of the proudest moments for me, looking at my studio and saying, bro, you did it. You did everything they said, or everything the naysayers said you won't or you wasn't going to be able to do. You did it. And you didn't have to change any part of who you are to accomplish it.
Okay, awesome, good stuff. You're here in St. Kitts as a facilitator for the Creative Power Arts Convention. What do you think, or how important do you think events like these are? How critical are they to?
I think it's super important because, as I said, we have Gen Z needs a little motivation, and we have younger people as well who want to come into the creative space, who want to do everything: videography, photography, even something as simple as printing T-shirts, even, whatever. I feel like this could share some of our stories and give the younger generation the tips and tricks that they need, or even the older generations, because some of them old boys need a little shake up as well. I feel like this is super important for creatives to share their story and share their knowledge to the younger generation coming up, just to motivate them, and maybe even if it wasn't something that they were looking into, and they get a grasp of, okay, you know what, they're going through YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, they're wherever, and they see the Creative Arts Power Convention and they start looking at it, they'll say, oh my God, maybe this is something I could get into. Because I'll be honest with you, my daughter now says, oh daddy, I want to be a YouTuber. The same daughter that I started taking pictures of, and I feel like things like this is important because I mean, as I said before, it's especially within the Caribbean, because we don't feel like we have the opportunities like in America. And truth be told, it is, I mean, you could say all you want, it is harder to make it in the Caribbean, especially to this level, than it is out there. But this could let people know that you can make it if you push. If you push and you're resilient and you're disciplined and you have the passion and the drive to do it, you could make it. So I love things like this. We need more of this.
I agree. Final question before we wrap up. Do you have any tips to share with relative newcomers to your industry, or people who are contemplating becoming a part of this very competitive industry, on remaining relevant?
I mean, remaining relevant will always be tricky because the carnival industry isn't a very big industry. Now it's growing. It's growing. It's a year-round thing now, and I make, a good amount of money. I wouldn't say I should be getting paid double. I think I should raise my prices when I go home, but I think
Speak your truth.
Nah, I ain't speaking of truth again. I mean, it's difficult to navigate. It's difficult to be on top. Just push yourself and push yourself harder than you think you need to, when you think that you're at the end of the road. And when I mean push yourself, I mean push yourself with learning, push yourself with investing in equipment, and push yourself with to be a better person, because ultimately a lot of the jobs could come from you just being a good person, from you just being a nice person. But continue to push yourself. A lot of creatives very early on learn just enough to get by and just enough for them to make some money, and they think that's it. And you need to continue to push yourself and continue to grow. And that's all. That's it.
Okay, Jeffrey, thank you very much for sharing snippets of your story navigating the world of photography. Guys, a reminder that Jeffrey is here in St. Kitts to host lectures and classes on navigating the world of photography. If you haven't registered yet, you have a little bit of time. I encourage you to do so now. Stay with us. We'll be back with more conversations. Good morning again, everyone, and welcome back to another of today's panel discussions here at the St. Kitts Creative Economy Power Arts Convention, where we continue to delve into the vibrant world of arts and explore its significant impact on the creative economy. We are honored to have two more very distinguished guests with us in Dr. Lantonette Stines and acclaimed choreographer, educator, and cultural advocate who's known for her innovative work in dance and her dedication to the preservation of Caribbean cultural expression. We also have with us today Ms. Jessica Shaw, a visionary art curator and entrepreneur whose efforts have been pivotal in promoting contemporary Caribbean art on the global stage. Today, we'll be exploring their journeys, the challenges and triumphs they've encountered, and their insights on how to build a sustainable, thriving creative economy. Their unique perspectives will surely offer valuable guidance and inspiration to artists, creatives, dancers, and other cultural leaders across the region. So let's dive headfirst into this conversation and learn more from these two extraordinary women. Dr. Stines.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I am very good, thank you. Being well fed here in St. Kitts.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's very good. And Jessica.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's really an honor to be here in conversation with the two of you. Dr. Stines, I want you to start by giving us a little bit of insight for those who may not be aware, or for those who may need a little bit of a refresher. How did you get your start in dance? I saw, was it last week, the interview that you did with Nicholas Newman?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just felt so warm and fuzzy inside. So when I got the list of panelists that I would be interviewing and I saw you on the list, I did a dance, or my version of a dance, because I can dance to save my life.
No, dance is spirit, mind, and body. You can dance.
But yeah, so tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got your start in dance.
You know, everyone asks me that question. I don't think I got a start in dance. I think God sent me here to dance. That's quite a difference, because my mother keeps claiming that I was dancing in her stomach, in her whatever. But when it comes up officially how I began as a child. Someone said to my mother, she has too much energy, so you need to send her to something that she can do to release all this energy. But I was always in the house dancing. My official training began with a woman called Alma Mokiel in Harborview. And that official training was in classical ballet, in our Jamaican traditional forms, and in popular dance. And this is a little girl, young girl growing up, you know. And I ended up in a company called the Harborview Dance Group, and she was a visionary when it came to choreography. So I was doing very mature dancing, mature choreographic works in what we have in Jamaica that is fantastic, called Jamaica Festival, where we have competitions in dance. And that's where it began. And then I ended up in New York City, and then I came back to Jamaica. I think to tell you the whole entire story would take the entire show. Yeah, but that beginning resulted in who I am today.
Okay, fantastic. And Jessica, what about you?
Okay, so my mother is a dancer, so having a daughter, it was her first instinct to say, all right, she will start with ballet. So I started ballet at age 3 with Elizabeth Vickers Samuda, which is the only real ballet school in my time in Jamaica now. She does RAD exams. So I started ballet age 3, went up to high school, maybe 16 or 17, just doing ballet. Then started in modern dance, more folk and African, and yeah, that's where my start was.
Growing up with a mother who dances, you might have felt that you had no choice. At what point did you fall in love with dance for yourself?
I think I was born with the love because she actually danced while she was pregnant with me, and so I feel like the bug bit me from I was conceived. And I would follow her around for as small as I can remember. I would hold on to her skirt tail or her t-shirt tail at her rehearsals. So it was very easy for me to feel that energy from her as well, and then create it on my own.
Okay, thank you for that, Jessica. Dr. Stines, back to you. So you're known for your innovative approaches to choreography. Can you talk about how you balance tradition with innovation?
I do that every day. To explain it is another thing. I find that I was not meant to do everything like everybody else. That was not my destiny. And I find that I am very focused on not having identity crisis. I find that I am very focused on originality, because I get bored. I can't be doing the same thing all the time. But it's also important to know who you are, who I am. Who I am in the scheme of creativity, in the scheme of cultural studies, in the scheme of... So, in school as a little person, when you sit down beside someone and you copy from their paper, we in Jamaica say you're a copycat. Why you're copying? I don't know how to do that. So, innovation had to happen out of tradition. And having trained in classical ballet and in the traditional forms, it was important for me, especially after going to United States of America, and people telling me who I am. Because you tend to go to spaces and people tell you, that is you, that is Caribbean. But one thing you have to know, is yourself. You have to know that my fingerprint is not your fingerprint. My identity is who is my identity? And because of that, I was able, having researched intensely, years of research, on the traditional forms, primarily first of Jamaica and then other Caribbean islands, and also researching historically what happened from across the ocean and what was washed ashore, which included Europe, Africa, and Asia. And then the innovation came to put them together. As Kamal Brathwaite said, Africa explodes, innovation explodes. Lantec is a technique I created that represents us, and that innovation came through that synergizing is the word I use, synergizing to bridge culture of what is all the information, knowing who I am. And not only knowing who I am culturally, but even genetically, having dominantly African, Chinese, and Europe in my own system as a human being.
Thank you for that. Jessica, what do you love most about what you do?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't think I have a one most. I think the things that I love about what I do is that I like what I do. I'm able to wake up and do something every day that I enjoy. So I teach as well as I dance with Dr. Antoinette Stines. And being around her, being around the company, learning from her, learning Lantec, dancing and performing her choreography and other international choreographers' work is a part of everything that makes me love what I do.
And this question is for both of you. Here in the Caribbean, we're still sadly encumbered by the dreams of our parents to see us pursue certain professions, be it doctor, lawyer, things that are still thought of as respectable and stable professions. As two creatives, what do you think is needed for us to totally step away from that mindset?
Want me to answer first?
Sure.
It's a difficult one. It still prevails that a parent thinks that it's their job to tell a child who to be. That's where it begins. Most parents don't realize that your job is to bring the child into the world. Your job is to educate that child. Your job is to support that human, that special spirit, because every person is a special spirit. You have to support what that child came into the world to do, and usually is what they're best at. Usually is what they enjoy most. And so a lot of parents tell their children they have to do something, so they end up doing something they don't enjoy. No matter how much money they make, they're unhappy. At some point, they end up with a big stroke. They end up unhappy because they never did what they really loved. And then there's fear. Because if you're a child who grew up in a certain, you fear doing what you love because you don't know what kind of income you will make. So In my case, I am not a normal person, so you can't judge me against anybody. Okay? I hear I'm eclectic. That's one of the 3 words. Eclectic. I had a very unusual mother who supported in every way my being a dancer and anything I did around dance. So I can't compare myself to everybody out there. My father was a medical doctor. And that is another long story. He was not very supportive. But I was guided by the divine to what I must do. And then one day he came to my show for the first time. His friends told him, there's a girl and she has a dance company named Lacadco. You need to see this thing. And he came to the show and sat in the theater after the show and cried and apologized to me.
How old were you then?
I was maybe almost 30. And he said to me, I'm so sorry. I thought you was going to jump up and down on stage and just jump up and down. I never knew the kind of work you do. He couldn't move out of the theater. After that, he was like one of my biggest fans. But it took me, when I first went to New York, he took away all my dance clothes and everything. I was not allowed to go to a dance class. And I developed a dance company in the university that was touring all the colleges, and he didn't know. He wasn't aware. People brought dance clothes for me. That was a dumb idea. People brought leotard and tights and gave me here. Because this is what he did not know. He knew nothing about it, you know. So I cannot compare myself to the everyday person. But one of the things you have to have is know you, believe in you, have guts in you. And you can't choose this kind of profession unless you know you're very good. You have to have edges above others. Don't be in Disneyland. You understand? She's now the associate director of Lacadco. I have a fantastic daughter who is edges above. She sings Amani, and she's also a dancer. And I have other dancers, edges above. You have to have that little...
Gotta have the oomph.
Yeah, you have to know that you are special. You're not a black pepper in the ocean. You have something to give that is different and special. And you cannot live in Disneyland.
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, I think a similar story for me too, in terms of my parents support me. Both my parents support me, have supported me from I made the decision to leave sixth form and go to School of Dance in Jamaica. The trajectory was, oh yeah, you'll be an economist, you'll be something like that. And then woke up and was like, no, I don't really want to do that anymore. I think this is my thing. And they supported me 100%, both myself and my brother, who is a graphic artist as well. So I am very grateful, and I know that my experience is not the same as most of the people who are around me. And it's unfortunate because I can't relate to them in that way, but I also sympathize with them because I couldn't imagine doing what I do without the support of my parents. And it was such a blessing to have that support, as well as I hope for everybody else to be able to experience it. And I think that also starts with the school system, the government, giving us certain kinds of, not safety nets, but an appreciation for the arts in a way that it's in the schools from we're very young, so that we can figure out what we want to do, as opposed to being pushed into an academic field from the get-go. I went to the top high school in Jamaica, and everybody around me, they wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. Every single person in my class turned out to be a doctor or a lawyer. So it's not easy to try and break away from that narrative, but there are so many people who would love to be able to. And I think that if they're given the support and the acknowledgement that it is possible, I think a lot more people will go for it.
Dr. Stein, Jessica raised a very important point, in my opinion, about children being introduced to different forms of art within the school system. How important or how pivotal do you think that could be if we were to include certain things into the school curriculum at a young age?
One of the words in this event we're having here is creative industries. And one of the things that is very important for creative industries is making of policies. And policies that support not the training of only the mind, but the training of the entire body. You see, you can't go to school and just train the brain. The brain is connected to the rest of the body. So in the school system, and when the entire body, and they will say it's physical education. Dancers don't want to study physical education. Dance is a discipline in itself. It's a discipline, it's an athletic discipline. I have taught footballers. I have taught cricketers. Dance is a discipline. And when governments understand that it's a discipline, it will be put in the school system from a young age. Now, she is an academic. She's a dance academic. I'm a dance academic. I have a PhD in cultural studies focused on dance. There are people who study dance all over the world and have fine arts in dance, MFAs, and it's a discipline that is an academic performing arts discipline. So what has happened especially is that the governments of the Caribbean islands, and I don't know if it's all, because I can't speak for all Caribbean islands, I don't want to disrespect anybody, so my apologies if it look like, have not sat and thought about the fact that most of the people who dance get better grades in the CXC and the CSEC exams. My daughter was on stage in a season of dance and ended up with 9 levels. Not in math, English, physics, Spanish. The assumption most dancers, you cannot be stupid and dance. Fufu people can't dance. God don't make fufu people though. Because for you to think of this hand is going to move this way, the head is going to move this way, I'm going to walk in that position over there. It's like you're doing math on stage, you know, because you're doing all these formations and everything. You're making a triangle, then you're making a this and a memory. So if it is put in the performing arts, it's going to impact on how they perform as academics in the other subjects. But the people who make the policies have no full, what we say in Jamaica, overstanding, not understanding. They don't have a full comprehension of how all of this comes together. And it has to change.
How do we go about changing that though? How do we get them to see the importance of things like this and acting accordingly?
That's the problem. We have to work as a team. I don't think, you know, we have countries that are CARICOM countries, and we have CARICOM countries, and we have also guests. I think we all have to work as a team to present policies. And it has been done, you know. Don't misunderstand. I think people have written it. But, you know, these huge things that are written, huge. I could never read them. I'm going to tell you, when you look at them, it looks like 2 PhD theses put together. It just get put down. And 10 years later, they appoint 5 more people, pay them some more money to do the same thing. And then they go back to the huge book, pull out some things, put it, and it presented. Somebody get paid from foreign, and then it get put down again. So until we get their attention in a very dramatic way, I am not the best person to tell you exactly how it's going to change, because I am not in government, I am not in politics. I'm performing arts, I am dance, very outspoken. But in other parts of the world, in America, in London, dance is in the school system. They must have a reason why they put it there.
Before we shift back to Jessica a bit, you said that we need to get their attention in a dramatic way. Being the outspoken person that you are, what could this dramatic way look like? What do you recommend?
Why she can put me on the spot, boy. I'm telling you. I was thinking while you were asking me the question, because when I travel with LACADCO, my company, it's called LACADCO, a United Caribbean Dance Force, I often ask to not just perform, but to go into a school and give and teach. Okay, I often ask for that. And it has happened in more than one space. Just last night, our tour in November is to St. Eustatius, which is right around the corner from you. And I just asked the person, will we be teaching? Because we as the performing arts have to start first. I always say, don't complain about something. If you're going to complain, make a change. You complain, what you're doing to make a change. It begins with us going into the school system and educating the children, the young, because right now, people have come up to me and said to me, you know, you came to Wolmer's High School and taught me when I was a little girl, and the person is now maybe in a government office working. Big people. That's how you have to get the minds of the young ones. That's what we can do. Because as they grow older, they will be in a space that can make the change as well. We are not the policy writers. They always get the person to write the policies. And most of the time, they don't ask us any questions. We don't even know when the policies are being written. You know? They're making a building, right? They're going to make a building, a structure. And they're going to know that one day dance going to go on it, yet the floor is concrete. So what's going to happen, you know, is the dancer going to get injured on that concrete floor. It doesn't occur to them. If this thing is being built, and it's going to be for music, but music is always looked out for. Let me tell you, music is, let's not compare music to dance. It can't be compared. And dance is going to go on it. What kind of floor does it need? What kind of wings does it need? What does it need? That's never considered. So we have to start, and not everybody can be outspoken. There are people who are afraid to be outspoken. You know, it's just that me reach an age now where me can't. No, I've always been outspoken.
That's right.
But even now more, because I regard myself like the mother of dance. Not because it's a grandmother, you know, Ivy Baxter. There are others before me that I stand on their shoulders. But right now, I can be more outspoken because I need to be. I cannot leave this earth and not say it. And that is part of it, you know, building structures. Part of it is building structures. Structures that it can include dance. But dance is the last thing thought of. Yet every event that tourism has, they send for dancers. And if a man make a piece of music and you don't tap your foot, that song not going to be a hit. If music is created and you don't feel like go so, it's done. Your heart have to go a little bit. Your heart dance, you know. You sit down and you listen to music and you feel like your heart pumping with it. If not, but we are not considered, we are considered last. And I'm happy. Let me tell you, I'm so proud of this event. This is a fantastic event. I've been here saying, what a fantastic event. Because, and tell me the name of come again. Department of Creative Economy. You know why I have to go so? Because you always hear Ministry of Culture. Yeah. Ministry of Creative Economy. I just changed the name to Ministry. But this department has put together an event with so many disciplines that all intertwine in some way. So I went to the music thing, the music panel yesterday. So I could learn for dance. Yeah. Because what they're talking about has something to do with me too. And if I went to the person who is Natalie, who is doing costumes for Carnival, it can really help me too. Yes. Anyone I go to will help us. And if you come to dance, it's going to help you too. Because if you're making a rhythm, and you can't rhythm that rhythm and make people move a certain way, you don't have a rhythm. So right now, to make a change, we have to decide how we're going to take dance our way into the school system. So what I did was do performances, lunchtime performances. But the problem is, you know, we don't have the funding. That's another thing, you know, getting the funding to say, we are going to go through the entire school system and give lecture demonstrations and teach about dance. So we have to decide we're going to do it because we love to do it. The dancers are going to go. We're going to do it because of the future of our country. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Thanks for that, Dr. Stein. Jessica, taking into consideration your lived experiences and also some of what Dr. Stines just shared, what is your dream for dance, like not just in Jamaica, but across the Caribbean?
I think my dream for dance is for it to be recognized as a viable career. I would love for Lacadco especially to expand beyond Jamaica, being based in Jamaica, but kind of like a franchise throughout the Caribbean and the world, so that we are all finding ourselves and we are all dancing ourselves as opposed to trying to be somebody else. I really would love for all of us to come together and to have a understanding of what dance is and what it can be. And Ms. Stines is right, we are always asked to perform at every single event, but we are not given the respect for the proper staging, for the proper time for rehearsals, for the compensation. We always have to shift the plant out of the way or, something like that. And I would love for everyone to understand what it takes and how much hard work it takes to be able to do the 5-minute performance that you've requested. That it's not just that 5-minute performance, it's training, it's years of putting your body through the rigor, because it's not easy. And if it's easy, you're not doing it well. And so, yeah.
That's so true. If it's easy.
Given the challenges you would have just identified and others that you may not have mentioned, some creatives say that it's often difficult to keep the fire burning. How do you guys keep the fire burning?
You're right. It's difficult to keep the fire burning. And the person you spoke with before, Jeffrey, who talked about Gen Z.
Yes.
Oh boy. There are people, for example, keep the fire burning means you have, as a dancer, to respect your body, to first respect your spirit, mind, and body. A dancer, it has to be a well-trained instrument, a tuned instrument. It is not easy to just go, bring up your leg, you don't just go. So I see people, 19-year-olds, you tell them, touch them toe, them can't touch it. Touch your toe. Oh my God, my toe? Get on there and touch it. Because they have never had to touch your toe. So the back of the muscles. And so to be a dancer, you have to go to rehearsals, you have to be tuned, you have to go to class. That's the first thing. Some people, and I say I don't have that difficulty with all my dancers. I say that. I don't know what Jessica's opinion will be, but but there are still those who take dance as a hobby. And that's the problem.
How does that make you feel?
How does that make me feel?
Yeah.
I don't know if I should talk straight.
Yes, please.
It makes me feel like I have a brothel. I could tell you what the Miss Stines don't say. I feel like people passing through. You know, you go to somewhere and take a little, and you pass through. Yeah. I am real, Everybody know that I can't change, this is me. That's what, it don't make me happy. You see, because then when I don't choose you to do a dance, you're upset I didn't choose you, but you wasn't there to train your body to be chosen to do the dance. If you were there training and you took yourself to your heights of heights, I have to pick you. If you practice to play a guitar and 5 guitarists come, the baddest guitarist is going to get chosen. The one who can really play it. It's the same with the body. You have to train it. So it doesn't make me feel, it's frustrating. That is the word. Because my repertoire is not an easy repertoire. It's a professional repertoire. It's a repertoire that can go on the stage anywhere in the world beside any major dance company. Okay. So you have to be at a level and I find I'm representing Jamaica. My country is Jamaica. My yard is Jamaica. I love my country with my heart and my soul. But Caribbeans identify with Lacadco too. You understand? I am family to St. Kitts. I come here. This is not the first time I come here. Maybe I come in for the food, but I come in for the people. I come in for the people. I feel I'm also family to Bajans. I'm family to Trinidadians. I'm family. I have a lot of Trinidadian boyfriends. I keep telling people that, my good friends. But and my very best friend lives in Trinidad. So all over the Caribbean, I have a lot of friends, and Lacadco and Lantec, because of the enslaved that came across the ocean, and it's on the body now. It's a language that represents these people, which I say is like dancing in patois. But if you take it to the African American body or anybody, you're also dancing in a buttocks a little bit, and anybody of any color, culture will find themselves in it, in the technique. So it is important to me that our knowledge gets exported internationally through the body, and that our information is stored on the body as a memory of our ancestors. Very important.
Jessica, Dr. Stein said a little while ago that you can't be in Disneyland. Work hard, but you also need to have a little extra, right, to be classified categorized, to fall within the ranks of the greats. At what point did you know that that's where you were, that you fit the bill?
I don't know that I am there yet. Being given the respect that Ms. Stines has given me thus far has been the validation that I've needed. So that is how I know I'm well on my way. Do I think that I've peaked? No. But then that's also the thing. We can't peak. We can't peak too early either. So I feel like that validation is the motivation to keep going forward, keep growing, keep training, keep putting my best foot forward.
I met Jessica as a young girl in a parking lot.
Okay.
I sat in a theater and watched her perform, and I was in awe. She was young. She wasn't where she is today. But she was so beautiful on the stage that in the parking lot, I had to stop her and say, little girl, if anybody tell you can't dance, tell him it's a lie. Because she was such a good dancer. But what she said is true. Each dancer keeps working to be better.
Okay.
Each musician keeps working to be better. Each painter keeps working to be that's the arts.
Yeah.
So you don't think, once you think you are there, you're going to start to falter. You will have problems.
Yeah.
You can't think you're there. You have to think, okay, let me keep training to be better. And that's why you have to train.
As dancers and educators, what are some of the characteristics? What do you look for that helps you to identify people who have the potential to be great?
Well, what I look for is very different from everybody, okay? You ever go to a party and sit down and an old woman, I just saw one on video, somebody sent it to me. She looked like 80-something years old. And she was around the room with her energy and her movement. Dance is for a spirit. If you don't have the spirit of dance, you see, sometimes you can do all the technical work, but you can't take the passion from the stage to the audience. Okay. You sit down and you watch a show and everybody is technically fantastic and you don't know why you are bored. But they're all doing everything right. Yeah. And for me, when Caribbean people are passionate people. Okay? I had a fabulous breakfast this morning of bake and saltfish and the taste. The taste is the same thing going into our dance. The energy of the ocean. So for me, I have to see the spirit. And after that now, I look at your potential facility. Okay. I have just given scholarships to new dancers to come and train. I do a lot of teaching of dancers for no money. A lot of our people who come from the inner city are the greatest talent, but they can never pay for the class. How are we going to train them? Okay. You're going to tell them they must come and pay for the class? The mother can't even buy lunch for them to go to school. And this is where talent. Whenever I see that, I invite them to come, and it's now up to them to work for it. Okay? Because I saw the potential in these people. And so they are going to be starting classes. And when I see that now, and I have taken dancers who end up in Lion King, who end up in all over the world dancing, and that makes me happy.
Okay, that's great, as it should. Jessica, what about you? What do you look for?
Yeah, so Miss Stines has the gift of seeing potential for sure. I would say I look for the dancer who is willing to be a sponge, who is willing to listen, and who is willing to apply. Also, a sponge can't soak up everything. It has to hold on to certain things. It can't hold on to everything. And I look for the student who understands what to hold on to and what to let go outside of the room, outside of the studio. And I think that's a skill that a lot of dancers, great professional dancers, have really honed as well, because they are not allowing all of the outside chatter to distract them. And I think if you're not easily distracted, you listen and you have a passion, which means your body and your mind will work towards what you are training for or say that you want to train for. I think that's what I really appreciate.
What is one of the highlights of your career as a dancer to date? What's one memory that has stuck with you?
There's so many. I think I have too many highlights to just single out one. I think being able to travel to different islands, to different parts of the world, doing what I love is a highlight. I think being able to watch students go from first year to fourth year graduate is a highlight. I think being able to perform all over the world is a highlight too. Yeah, it's really difficult for me to single it out. Everything is just, it's fulfilling. It's fulfilling, yeah.
I have to mention something. I have to mention the full name where Jessica teaches. She teaches at the Edna Manley College for the Visual and Performing Arts in Jamaica. It's important to mention it because you have one of your own team here, Marcia, who graduated from that school, and they're all over the Caribbean, and they go back home to make a change and make a difference. So that is important to mention. I wanted to do that.
And thank you for sharing that, but I also want you, I mean, it's decades you've been doing this, but what is one core memory you have of your experience as a dancer that you're willing to share?
What Jessica said is true, you know. Remember, you know, I conceived of this, so it's kind of hard. But the first time I was able to pay dancers, I'm the first to pay dancers in the Caribbean. Pay meaning I can't pay, I have not been able yet to pay them on a weekly basis, which I'm working for. But every time they enter a stage, I expect them to be able to get money. It is important to me because it's work. It's not a joke thing, it's not a hobby. So a dancer came to me recently and showed me the paycheck I paid her in 1980 something or 400 and something, and she saved it. And it really reached my soul. But the other one was to see my own daughter do a lead in a dance called Sata. Remember, she was a baby, and she grew up now to be doing the lead. I sat down and I was like, oh my God. And the last one was to be able to be invited to watch La Cadco dance. I sat down in the audience. They don't want me backstage. I must tell you this. They don't want me backstage. They say I make them nervous. They literally run me now. They say, go outside because you make us nervous. And I get angry, you know, and I get miserable. And I don't want to go outside. I behave badly because I am very mischievous. Extremely. I get in a lot of trouble. I feel like they're going to punish me, you know, because I give trouble. But I went in the theater. I sat, and it was Jamaica Dance Umbrella. And I watched an entire show, and I had nothing to do. Because I have a team. And I know and I feel safe that when I transition, this team will go on. It will be and I have this vision that I'm going to come back and have to take a class in my own technique, Lantic. And I won't know who is Dr. Lantonette Stines. I will read about her and say, oh, that's what she did. I have this vision that is going to happen. And if that happened, it means I'm blessed by the wonderful divine energies, mother and father of the universe.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Unfortunately, I was just given the signal that we're running out of time. But before we wrap, could you share a little bit of what you want your legacy to be? And like, do you have any tips, any guidance that you could share, that you're willing to share with newcomers to the industry, newcomers to dance?
You know, I've been asked that question and I have difficulty answering because I think I have many legacies. One of the legacies, though, is that dance is love. That dance is something that we should share with each other. It's not politics. There's a tendency for us to take the performing arts and make it into politics. We must work hard to all work as a team. I would like that to be one of my legacies. That I can't teach. I'm a perfectionist. And what's the other part of the question? A whole heap of question that you know.
Yeah, tips.
Oh,
Tips, guidance for relative newcomers to the dance industry.
And you know, I think I gave tips all along while answering your questions, because whatever you're best at is what you must do. So, because they're affiliate professions to the dance. I cannot do a performance without a woman named Nadia Roxborough, who is our technical director. Okay? So that technical director, I cannot do a performance without the person playing the sound. So she's technical and she's lights. I cannot do a performance without my dancers. I cannot do the performance without Jessica, the costume mistress. So if you like the dance, make up your mind whether you really are a dancer or you are the affiliate profession to it, which is extremely important too. And we also need people who write about the dance, the people who video the dance, the people who photograph the dance. Everybody is important to the whole complete whatever happened. The person who designed the program, the person who markets it. So pick where you think is your spot. But other thing you have to do is be very good at it.
Thank you. What about you, Jessica?
Yeah, I am agreeing with Ms. Stines. I think if you choose to be the dancer, I think you need to understand what that means in terms of what it will take for you in terms of training, that it's not going to be easy every day, that dance is very unforgiving, and the moment you take a break, you're going to come back and realize, oh my gosh, I feel like I have not done this in a month or a year, and that it's a constant battle. But if you choose that is what you want to do, you have to be strong in that choice. And also back to the sponge thing, as a student or as a young dancer, be a sponge. Learn something from everything, but everything can't remain. Yeah.
You have to know it's a gift from God. Sometimes people leave out the divine energy, you know. You don't just get up and just do it. You are being guided. You're getting assistance every day, because a dancer get up and can get an injury in a second. Every time you take a class and come out without an injury, the blessings and love, I thank you.
Ms. Stines, Jessica, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
What you shared with us. I, for one, have learned a lot. I feel good after this exchange, and I am sure everyone looking on share the goodness.
But you're excellent at what you do.
Oh, thank
and
you.
And look so gorgeous while
thanks.
you're doing it.
Now you're trying to make me blush. But thank you so much. And thanks, guys, for tuning in. A reminder that we'll be back later today with more conversations on navigating the creative economy.